She stood at my door at 11:47 at night, soaked to the bone, mascara running down her face, shaking like she'd just seen something she couldn't unsee. And the first words out of her mouth, I had no one else to talk to. Now here's what you need to understand. This wasn't just any woman standing at my door in the middle of a storm. This was Rachel, my ex-wife's best friend. The same woman who had stood next to her at our wedding, holding her bouquet, smiling at me like we were family. And for 3 years, 3 long, brutal years, I had spent every single day trying to figure out why the woman I loved packed her bags and walked out of our marriage without a single real explanation. I thought I'd made peace with it. I thought I was done. But the moment I opened that door and saw Rachel's face, I knew. Whatever she was about to say was going to change everything. And I had absolutely no idea how right I was. Hey, before we go any further, real quick, drop a comment right now and tell me where you're watching from. I'm talking city, country, wherever you are in the world. Let's see how far this story reaches. And look, I know a lot of you watch without subscribing. I see you. And it doesn't cost you a single thing. Just hit that subscribe button real quick and smash the like button. It genuinely helps more than you know. Okay, back to the story. My name is Daniel Mercer. At 38 years old, I was what most people would call fine. Not great, not broken, just fine. I had a decent job managing inventory for a regional logistics company outside Columbus, Ohio. A modest house with a leaky gutter I kept meaning to fix. A dog named Biscuit, who still slept on the left side of the bed, the side my ex-wife Claire used to sleep on. That tells you everything you need to know about where my head still was. Claire and I had been together for 6 years, married for 3 of them. She was warm, sharp-tongued in the best way, and had this laugh that made strangers turn around in restaurants just to find out what was so funny. I loved her completely. And then, on a random Tuesday in March, she sat me down at our kitchen table, slid her ring across it like a chess piece, and said, "I can't do this anymore, Daniel. No screaming. No throwing things. Just those 7 words and the sound of her suitcase wheels on the hardwood floor." I begged her to tell me why. I called, I texted, I showed up at her mother's house. She wouldn't give me anything. Just we grew apart, and I'm sorry. Her best friend Rachel was there for all of it. They'd been inseparable since college. The kind of friendship where one of them knows what the other is thinking before she even opens her mouth. Rachel was always around, always warm to me, always smiling that easy, relaxed smile. After Claire left, Rachel went with her. Obviously, I hadn't heard from either of them in 3 years, until that storm. I almost didn't answer the door. It was a Thursday night in November. The kind of storm that makes you feel like the whole world is being punished for something. Thunder shaking the windows. Rain coming sideways. The power had already flickered twice. Biscuit was growling at the door before I even heard the knock. I opened it, and there she was, Rachel Brooks, 35 years old, hair plastered to her face, hands trembling slightly by her sides. "I know this is insane," she said immediately. "I know I'm the last person you want to see, but I didn't know where else to go." I stood there for a second, just staring at her. Every reasonable part of my brain said, "Close the door." But something in her eyes stopped me. Something that looked a lot less like showing up at an ex's best friend's house and a lot more like desperation. I stepped back and let her in. She sat at my kitchen table, the same table where Claire ended our marriage, and she wrapped both hands around the mug of tea I made her, and she didn't speak for almost 2 full minutes. When she finally looked up, she said, "Daniel, what I'm about to tell you, I should have said 3 years ago. And I am so sorry that I didn't." My stomach dropped. "What are you talking about, Rachel?" She exhaled slowly. "Claire didn't leave you because she stopped loving you." The room went very quiet. "She left you," Rachel said, her voice cracking, "because someone told her you were cheating." I set my mug down carefully so I wouldn't throw it across the room. "Someone told her I was cheating?" I repeated. "Who? Cheating with who? That's insane. I never." "I know," Rachel said. "I know you didn't." The way she said it hit me like cold water. She knew. She knew it wasn't true, which meant she'd known all along. I looked at her very slowly. "Rachel, who told Claire that?" She couldn't look at me. She was staring at the table, jaw tight, like the words physically hurt to form. And then she said it. I did. I heard it. I processed it. And then some part of my brain just refused to accept it. "What?" "I told Claire you were cheating on her." Her voice broke completely now. "I made it up. I fabricated it. I said I'd seen something. I described a woman, a time, a place. All of it was a lie." The kitchen felt like it was spinning. 3 years. 3 years of silence, confusion, therapy, sleepless nights, talking to Biscuit at 2 a.m. because he was the only one who'd listen. 3 years of wondering what I did wrong, and the answer was sitting at my kitchen table. "Why?" I said, and my voice was so quiet it scared even me. "Why would you do that to us?" Rachel finally looked up, and her face was completely shattered. "Because I was in love with you," she whispered. "I had been for years, and I knew you'd never see me that way as long as you had Claire. I told myself it wasn't a big deal, that you two would have problems eventually anyway, that I was just speeding up the inevitable. She put her face in her hands. I convinced myself it wasn't that bad, but Daniel, it destroyed you. I watched it destroy you from a distance for 3 years, and I couldn't live with it anymore. Quick pause. If you're locked into this story right now, go ahead and share it with somebody. Just send it to one person. You know they need to hear this. And if you haven't subscribed yet, come on, seriously. It's free, it takes 2 seconds, and it means everything. Now let's keep going. I wanted to be furious. And I was. Believe me, I was. But I also couldn't stop thinking about one thing. Claire left because she thought I betrayed her. Not because she stopped loving me. Not because she wanted someone else. Not because of anything I actually did. She walked out of a marriage she still believed in because her best friend put a lie in her ear and then watched her pack her bags. Does Claire know? I asked. Have you told her the truth? Rachel shook her head slowly. That's why I came to you first. Because I didn't think she'd believe me if I just showed up and confessed. I thought you deserved to know first, and I thought she hesitated. I thought maybe you'd know how to reach her in a way that I can't anymore. You're not still in contact with her? She cut me off about a year ago, Rachel said quietly. She found out I had feelings for you. Not the whole truth, just she could feel something was off. She ended the friendship. She said she needed space. I sat back in my chair and stared at the ceiling. So Claire had already begun to sense something wasn't right, which meant somewhere out there, my ex-wife was potentially sitting with her own version of confusion and doubt, maybe even starting to question whether the story she'd been told was actually true. There was still a chance. Not for us, I wasn't even sure what I wanted anymore, but for the truth. The truth deserved to come out. Okay, I said finally. Then let's fix it. Over the next 2 weeks, Rachel and I worked together to piece everything back together. She wrote everything down, dates, what she said, the exact lies she'd constructed, and she signed it. She called it a letter of confession, though it read more like a deposition. Finding Claire wasn't hard. She'd moved to a smaller city about 2 hours away, Dayton, and was working as an occupational therapist. I knew because her mom still sent me a Christmas card every year. Miss Patricia Hale. She never blamed me. She always wondered. I called Miss Patricia first. I told her everything. There was a long silence on the phone. And then she said, Daniel, I always knew something wasn't right. Claire's been struggling. She never fully believed she made the right decision. Come down. I'll make sure she's there. The drive to Dayton was the longest 2 hours of my life. Claire was sitting on her mother's couch when I walked in. She looked the same, maybe a little tired, a little more guarded, but still unmistakably her. She stood up the moment she saw me. Daniel, what is? Just read this first, I said, and handed her Rachel's letter. I watched her read it. I watched her expression go from confusion to disbelief to grief in about 90 seconds. By the time she finished, her hands were shaking. She lied to me, Claire said. Not a question, a statement. Like she was hearing an answer to a question she'd carried for 3 years without knowing she was carrying it. Yeah, I said. She did. Claire stood up and walked to the window back to me. Her shoulders were rising and falling with controlled breathing. Finally, she turned around. I am so sorry, Daniel. So am I said, for all of it. We talked for 4 hours that afternoon. Not about getting back together. Neither of us suggested that. Too much time had passed. Too much had changed. But for the first time, there was truth between us. Clean, clear, painful truth. And somehow that was exactly what both of us needed. Here's what happened after. Rachel moved back to her hometown in Pennsylvania. She's in therapy now, her own words. She reached out to Claire directly about 6 months after that night, and Claire actually agreed to meet with her. I don't know if they ever rebuilt that friendship. That's not my story to tell. Claire is doing well. She's in a relationship now, I heard through her mother. She seems happy, and I mean that genuinely, without bitterness. That surprised me more than almost anything. As for me, about a year after that night in the storm, I started noticing something. Rachel and I had stayed in contact throughout the whole process, planning, coordinating, making sure Claire had the full truth. And somewhere in all those long phone calls and quiet, honest conversations, something shifted. Not the version of Rachel I thought I knew, but the real one, raw, flawed, owning every mistake she'd made, doing the work, becoming better. And I wasn't entirely sure how I felt about that. I'm still not, if I'm being fully honest. But I know this. The woman who showed up at my door that stormy November night, terrified and soaked and carrying 3 years of guilt, she gave me back something I thought I'd lost forever, the truth, and maybe something else I wasn't expecting. So here's what I need you to think about. Rachel destroyed a marriage out of selfish love, then risked everything to come clean with no guarantee of forgiveness, no guarantee of anything. Does that redemption mean something, or does the original sin cancel it out? Could you forgive someone who lied and cost you 3 years of your life if they came back and tried to make it right? Drop your answer in the comments right now. I genuinely want to know what you think. And hey, if this story hit you in any kind of way, you already know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, and seriously, drop where you're watching from down below. We've got people watching from all over the world, and I love seeing it. I'll see you in the next one.